2014-2015 was my first year really getting into college athletics, especially college football. I did some college baseball and a few college basketball games the previous year, but this was my first year actually getting an opportunity to take part in that for the Montgomery Advertiser, and it was a crazy year in college athletics here in the River region. I'd like to give you my top 5 personal moments, my personal top 5 from the college season from 2014 to 2015. I'm going to start with something that really was a special moment for me. It wasn't exactly a memorable game, but back in February, it was Auburn and Ole Miss basketball. Drove up to Auburn for my first SEC basketball game. The game really wasn't memorable. Ole Miss had the lead most of the way, ended up winning 86-79, but just the fact that I actually got to cover an SEC basketball game, I hope it's the first of many, and I hope it's the first of many opportunities going up to Auburn or to Tuscaloosa to cover games, football, basketball, baseball, and the like. Number 4, Huntington had some pretty good games this year. Huntington and Faulkner, those are most of the games I did for college football this year. Well, the best out of that bunch was the Huntington-LaGrange game. Now, this game was was here in Montgomery, and it was really not a memorable game. The finish was more memorable than the rest of the game. Huntington had a 17-10 lead with about 5 minutes left to go on a punt. The Huntington Hawks, actually fumbled the snap on the punt. The kickoff was returned by the Panthers, the LaGrange Panthers. They ended up tying the game at 17. With 1:01 left to go, Michael Gray has a 21-yard touchdown reception. That ends up winning the game 24-17. Even though Huntington lost, it was still a great game, and it was still a fantastic finish. Now, for number 3, you want to talk about a team that had a lot of fantastic finishes this year. Alabama State men's basketball. Every time I went to the Acadome this year, I always expected a close, competitive game, and I got a lot of those this year. But the one I really remember the most was on a Monday night at the Acadome when the Hornets took on Southern. Now, they already had a crazy game in January. This was in February, and the Hornets really needed this win to kind of propel themselves in the SWAC. Well, they got to the game, and just like most games this year with Alabama State men's basketball, they started off pretty slow. In fact, they had a 20-point deficit. Well, they came all the way back, actually took a 3-point lead, but Southern's Adrian Rogers banked in a 3-point shot with about 58 seconds left, and everybody thought this was just another fantastic finish with Alabama State. Well, DeMarcus Robinson, after Alabama State got the rebound late in the game, he misses a game-winning 3. Alabama State does go on to win in overtime, but the back-and-forth battle and the 17-point comeback makes this my number 3 game of the year. Now, number 2, I had 2 games that I was thinking about. They were interchangeable. It was part of a 3-week stretch of games at Crampton Bowl, which were really outstanding. But number 2, I'm going to go with the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl between South Alabama and Bowling Green. First of all, it was just an honor to cover the game, but it was also an honor because this was the first ever game for the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl, and it was also the first ever game for South Alabama. Bowling Green had been in a couple of bowl games before, but this game was back and forth, and really Bowling Green took control of most of the game. They were up by 14 after 3 quarters, but South Alabama came back, actually took the lead with 1:33 left to go, but then just about 25 seconds later, Bowling Green hits a 78-yard touchdown pass, and it really took the air out of Crampton Bowl because there were more South Alabama fans than Bowling Green fans there at the stadium. But it was an incredible game. It was a great inaugural Camellia Bowl. I hope to see more of those like that in the future. Number 1, this was the other great game, college game I saw at Crampton Bowl, the SIAC Championship, Tuskegee and Albany State. Great rivalry in this historic HBCU football conference, and it was absolutely unbelievable. Albany State returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. It was just a sign of things to come in this one. Tuskegee won 47-41. There were 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter, including 3 in the final 2 minutes. This game was off the charts Unbelievable. Couldn't believe it. And in fact, it was the second game I did that day because I was at Faulkner doing the afternoon game. I was given an email to go cover the SIAC championship. I'm glad I actually saw the email. Otherwise, I would have missed this game. But it was great. Michael Thornton for Tuskegee scored a touchdown with 38 seconds left. Tuskegee gets a safety on the ensuing kickoff. That's what ended up being a 6-point margin. Now, Tuskegee would go on to lose in the Division II playoff, which was another game that I would have put on this list, but I just really thought that this game right here, the SIAC championship, was probably the best game I did all season long, whether high school, college, or whatever, for the Montgomery Advertiser. It was just back and forth, and as much as I love football and great games like this, I really enjoyed it. Those are my top 5 games, and those are my top 5 games this year, and I hope next year is even better with even more fantastic games.